Hey guys, Josh here with Windy City, and Jake as well.
Driving.
He's driving, so he can't look at the camera. But anyway, we're actually on our way over to one of our best customers right now to just kind of talk about the year in review and talk about what's going to change in the upcoming year. You know, this is something that we like to do with all of our customers. Just sit down, make sure that our objectives are still aligned with how each one of us does business. You know, because as I've talked about in my YouTube videos as well, you know, everything that we do is relationship based, and if both companies aren't moving in the same direction, then a change has to be made. So that's one of the main reasons that I like to do this, and I think that it really not only solidifies the long-term value in the relationship itself, but it also strengthens what you do on a daily basis. So that's where we're headed, and I know that Jake has his thoughts on the matter too.
Yeah, definitely. Things like this, I'm really intrigued on the service of customer service itself, because a lot of the times customers don't always tell you what their hot points are. Sometimes you have to do them the service of asking the right questions to get down to what really matters for them, to figure out how you can better help them, because there might be some things and some issues within their business that are issues and they don't even realize until they get the chance to speak it.
And you know what, on that same subject, I think that it's important to note that customer relationships are not all that different than spouse relationships or friend relationships or anything else, but in the sense that sometimes we expect the other party to know exactly what's wrong.
Yeah.
And oftentimes it's not the case. I don't know anything is wrong with my company unless somebody tells me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the reasons why we like to do this, is because those open lines of communication, I mean, they really go a long way to make sure that everybody knows exactly what our strengths are and what our weaknesses are, and we can't improve on our weaknesses unless we know what they are. So anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt there, but
oh no, you're hitting the nail on the head on that one. Absolutely. Excellent. So we're going into a meeting now to talk about the end of the year review. So when we do these things, what are some of the questions you typically ask to kind of get to the bottom of it?
well, usually the first thing I do is very first question I always ask is, how are we doing? Bottom line,
Yep.
How are we doing? Are you happy with us? And I encourage my customers to be completely honest too. As much as we all love to hear, oh yeah, things are going great, or yeah, couldn't be happier.
Mm-hmm.
That's all fine and dandy, just so long as they're being honest. There's so many people out there right now, even when you confront them and tell them, you want them to be honest, something inside them just doesn't feel like they can be 100%, I think. And that makes it so much harder to rectify any issues that there might be, because again, we need to know exactly what we're doing wrong or what we're doing right. So I try to encourage sincerity in that, and genuinely extract the right information. Even the smallest thing can make the biggest difference. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay, so say there is something that they bring up that they want us to, maybe it's like a stop, start, continue kind of thing, like stop doing this, start doing this, we like this. What do you think a good game plan then going forward to actually implement these changes would be?
Well, we first have to consider exactly what those start stops are, and determine if we're legitimately capable of accommodating. Because we don't want to lie to ourselves, and we don't want to lie to our customers. We don't want to over-promise something and then under-deliver. So I think the biggest thing that we can do is, number one, be honest, but set realistic expectations.
Yes. Yep.
And with those expectations, just to be open about what you can do and what you can't do, and then let the cards fall where they may afterwards. A theory that I always like to use, in my company with Windy City is, and I instill this in everybody, is under promise and over deliver. Okay, I would much rather say, I don't think we can make that possible with how, we're going right now, or I don't think we're going to be able to do this, and then go back, research it, see if there's a way to make it happen. And then one of two things happens. Either A, you can't do it, and the customer or whoever you're talking to expects you not to be able to do it because they could sense the hesitation in your voice, and you were upfront with them and you said, look, I don't know if I can make this happen. So, that's almost setting the tone for what they expect. But then the cool part is, if you do make it happen and you do over deliver on that, you come out looking 100 times better. So what is the downfall? And I know what people are going to say. Well, the downfall is, what if they want to find somebody else because you say you can't do something? Well, that's true no matter what situation you're in.
Yeah.
Whether you say you're going to do it and then lose them because you can't, or whether you say you can't do it and lose them because of that, you're going to lose them either way if you can't please everybody. So you have to take it situationally. You have to be honest with yourself, your capabilities, your customers, and let like I said, let the cards fall where they may.
Yeah, for sure. I think people saying that they'll just drop you for being honest is almost an easy out. It seems like the easiest thing in the world for somebody to say that they're just going to drop you. But we talk about transparency in our customer relationships all of the time, and I think being often open and honest about these kind of things, if it wasn't something that we feel like we could properly manage, by telling them that strengthens that relationship, if anything, because they know you're not going to lie to them, you're not going to pull wool over their eyes or anything like that. In fact, it might be better to acknowledge that than it would be to even push the question to the side if you didn't feel comfortable doing a service or anything like that.
Spot on.
Excellent.
Hey guys, Josh here, back again. Just got done with our meeting in Scottsdale. We were just talking about a few minutes ago. I think it went well. I guess that has yet to be seen, but when I asked what we could be doing differently, he said he hadn't heard anything, and I don't know about you, but no news is good news. I also introduced Jake as their new account manager. They seemed pretty happy about that. Got another meeting on Monday to meet with them and just establish a point of contact, which I'm very excited about. And I think they'll be excited to have an account manager as well. One thing that Jake can't do is drive. So
I'm trying.
He's learning.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it went good. I think it'll be good to go in there and meet with all of their store managers all at once to kind of, set the tone, not only to introduce ourselves, but to get a grasp on what their concerns are all at once. But, like we talked about when we were leaving, I think it'll still be important to go to each store and sit down with each manager individually outside of their corporate office, because, sometimes their big picture in the corporate office and what is actually going on the ground level is a little bit different. And, you might get them to open up a little bit more.
Perception.
With the perception. And, I think it'll be important to still give them each their individual attention, because, they all deserve it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's exactly what we talk about. The perception of the industry, it's not just one perception of the entire industry from everybody. It stems from each department and each customer in each market, in each region, in each state, and in each continent. I mean, like Jake said, I think he hit the nail on the head when he said that the back office has a certain certain way of viewing things. They have their own perception, and then the store managers, right? They're the boots on the ground, and they've got their own perception, and sometimes those two don't jive, and that makes it really hard to fix it, to change that perception, because you don't know where to start first. So, I think that's one of the challenges that we see every day, but I think that's also one of the things that makes life worth living, right? Challenges every day are what make us better, what makes our company better. WCE is not the same company that it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago. We've been evolving constantly because we keep striving to change that perception, and we have to do that in different ways. So different ways require different tactics, and different tactics require different personnel and methods and everything else. So everything is constantly evolving in the way of what it takes to change the perception of those who don't know how to perceive this industry correctly, or any industry for that matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly. The meeting we just left was a perfect example of why we've been talking so much about changing the perception in this industry, because, you know, you brought it up in that meeting, and he confirmed first, like, immediately that, you know, there is a negative perception of service companies. He was very, very quick to talk about that, and, you know, he gave us some examples of experiences he's had, and you know, that's, like we talked about earlier, though, that's why it's important to ask questions and really get to the bottom of their concerns, because, you know, he jumped right on it, that, yep, negative, you know, there's negative perceptions, and you know, that customer knowing that that's on the top of our mind. We're not just there to pop in, do the work, get out and collect the money. You know, he knows we're thinking big picture, not only for us and for his business, but for the entire industry as a whole. And you know, that has to go a long way in giving him some peace of mind with choosing us as the service company that he's doing business with, because he knows we're not just here for one little aspect of this industry. We're here thinking about the entire industry as a whole, and I would imagine that feels pretty good for him.
Yeah, I think so. And you know, on that topic, that's exactly why I brought it up, because as I said in the video that we did just like 30 minutes ago before this meeting, you know, it's important to make sure that you align your objectives with your partners, all right, customers and vendors included. You know, if everybody knows exactly what they're working towards, then it's a lot easier to develop and maintain those relationships. You know, like bringing up perception. Look, he knows there's a bad perception in the industry. He confirmed it, like Jake said, immediately. I told him, I said straight out, look, we want to change the perception of this industry, and the next words out of his mouth were, yep, that's got a bad perception. Nope. Nobody likes the service industry. And I mean, come on, that's what I've been saying this entire time, right?
Yep.
Is this industry's got such a poor perception that it's almost sad. Well, it's sad for me because I'm in it, but maybe you don't care. but it is. It's definitely a problem. So anyway, to be able to communicate that objective to him, have him confirm it, and then now suddenly we're both working on the same exact thing. He knows that we should be perceived in a certain way because he knows that our objective is to not be perceived in a negative way. Do you see how this starts to tie everything together and really alter the quality of the relationship? You know, this 30-minute meeting is quite possibly a vital component of keeping this customer for what could be a lifetime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree, absolutely. And you know, not only this customer but others as well, because, you know, just as in every industry, just because companies may seem competitors, they still talk. They still, you know, they may be business competitors, but a lot of these industries are pretty tight-knit and they're friends. And he gave us an example of sort of a mastermind in the Phoenix area of different businesses. So, you know, word gets around. So I think it's important to, you know, not only think about changing this perception, you know, in our marketing and in our videos, but just every day with everything we do, whether it's making a phone call or sending an email or just showing up on time when we said we'd be there. It all boils down, you know, to that core.
Absolutely, you know, and that I think could almost be considered the key component. You know, we have to not only talk about changing the perception of the industry, but take the steps to actually do it. I mean, people say knowledge is power. That's untrue. Knowledge plus action is power.
Yes.
We have to practice what we preach. We have to, like Jake said, make sure that you know, everything that we do aligns with our reason for doing it, and that is to change the perception of this industry. So I think that's all we got for today. But anyway, hey, make sure you stay tuned. All right, sign up for our newsletter. Sign up for our podcast, brand new this year, 2018. You're probably already on YouTube if you're watching this right now, but make sure to subscribe to that as well. So we got a lot of fun things happening. Just stick around, okay? Catch you guys soon.